Well, hello. Hello, hello. I'm sorry, Kirby. I hope the power outage unpowers you. Well, unpowers itself, soon. Also, you can bite my hair. You don't have to bite my fingy. It's fine. I think hating Texas should be a normal part of everyday life. Yes. Okay, so the plan for today is, in fact, we will hopefully be finishing this game. We will hopefully be finishing Dual Destinies. Or at least getting close to finishing Dual Destinies. And then maybe switching to Genshin. And I will do my Farina pulls on stream. Yay! Okay. So, I'm gonna get right into it. Don't worry, I'll let you join my world first. Yeah, didn't he like he have a whole thing where he during the that really big freeze that Texas had, he went to like Mexico or something. Yeah, I know something. Like, he went to Mexico and was like, I just wanted to go because my daughter was going and I wanted to drop her there. But turns out he was just trying to go to, you know, avoid the giant freeze that was happening. Who knew? Okay. Witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is not Witness. My name is Punko. Yes, I realize that, but when you are at witness stand, you are the witness. No, I am not. I am Punko. Say it with me. Punko. Oh, what an utterly inflexible little robot. You're the last person you should be calling anybody inflexible. Hey, oh no. Phoenix. Yeah, that's because I deducted all your points. Anyway. You remind me of my grandchild who just learnt his own name. Oh, how precious. Phoenix is not. He passed out for 3 days because he had to sit down and bend forward. Alright, Ponko. I'm going to ask you some questions. Questions? You have questions? Hooray! What are your questions? Ponko is so Bubbles coded, and I stand by that. I want to know if you were there at the scene of the murder of Meta Sykes. It was 7 years ago on the 7th of October around 2 p.m. in the robotics lab. Certainly. Just 1 moment. Searching data. Search complete. Yes, I was there in the robotics lab. It would seem this robot's testimony is necessary to this case after all. That's great. I just knew Ponko must have seen something important. A murder committed right before this poor little girl's eyes. It's inexcusable. He's going to adopt her as a grandchild. The judge seems ready to adopt Ponko as another grandchild. Oh no. Beautiful. I love tormenting people. It's so fun. Yeah, M&Ms. Punko saw Simon fuck it up, and I said, "Oh, throw it back, white boy." Nothing. That's fine. Anyway, guys, I had crispy M&Ms. You're gonna have to wait for the VOD until context. Anyway. Vinny! Vin, you gonna say hello? There we go, baby. So, little Punko, do you think you can give us testimony today? That's his grandchild now. That's his baby. That's his baby girl. That's his baby girl. That's his baby girl. Sorry. What I saw. I went to the robotics lab around 2 p.m. to do my regular recharge. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mummy Metis. Then Mummy Metis fell down. After that, I was recharging, so I don't know anything. After I charged up, I was cleaning the room and Mr. Simon came in. And then an error occurred. There's no data after that point. She calls him Mr. Simon. Well, it sounds like the defendant was without a question at the scene. However, it doesn't appear that the witness saw the actual moment of the murder. I disagree. The testimony shows that the defendant did indeed commit the crime. What? At the end of the day, we mustn't forget that the witness is still a machine. Being a robot and its understanding and capacity to express itself are limited. So, what are you suggesting? The witness statement needs to be interpreted. For example, the term hugged and then later fell down. Adults don't usually fall down after being hugged by a child. They don't, but... Yes, what the witness's statements are telling us is... that the defendant stabbed the victim with the murder weapon during this moment. What? Oh, I didn't do that! Oh no, Panko, you've been everywhere! Before Miss Sykes hugged Dr. Sykes, what did the two of them converse? Yes, they did. They spoke to each other very loudly, but I don't know what they said. Athena's usually so quiet, I was surprised. Spoke very loudly. We can interpret this to mean they argued. I see. Murder after a heated argument, and then the victim fell down. I agree, that does sound like a reasonable interpretation. However, Ponko doesn't seem to remember anything that happened after that. When I am recharging, I go into sleep mode. But I remember everything before that. I have very good memory. You may as well admit defeat now, right? A cross-examination would be useless. Into the Panko-verse. Panko, never at home. Until now. Think about it. Robots don't lie. This robot is both an important witness and valuable evidence at the same time. Nevertheless, I will have my cross-examination. I see you haven't changed. You never were one to worry about wasting time. Oh. Very well. Even if it may be a waste of time, you may proceed, Mr. Wright. I'll show you both how fruitful any cross-examination can be. There's so much sexual tension between those two. Oh no. Hold it. Your regular recharge, what is that exactly? I have to refill my battery's power or else I stop working. I go to the lab to do that. So that recharging occurred around 2 p.m. during the time of the murder. That's right. I go every day at 2 p.m. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mummy Metis. She's Mummy, alright. Hugged her, huh? Which Edgeworth took to mean as stabbed her with a weapon. You said the two of them were talking before Miss Sykes hugged her mother, is that right? Yes, they were talking very loudly, but I couldn't tell what they were saying. Couldn't tell? Even though they were speaking so loudly? I'm only allowed to listen to voices that are directed at me. If it listened to every voice, it would be a little better than a mobile eavesdropper. Well, that explains why some of Punko's testimony is so vague. It's a shame that our little friend wasn't listening in, however. We could have learned what they were talking about just before Dr. Sykes was killed. Now then, what happened after that? And then Mummy Metis fell down. After that, I was recharging. I don't know anything. Hold it. I don't want to delve too deeply here, but could you tell us about how the victim... Mummy Metis was surprised when she was hugged. I heard her heart bound. Her heart? Mr. Wright, have you forgotten about this document we found in the robotics lab? These robotics have a heartbeat detection system. Now that he mentions it, I do remember reading something like that there. They detect the presence of people by the sound of their heartbeats. But wait a minute, that means if Dr. Sykes really did die at this moment. Punko, how was Dr. Sykes after she fell down? Could you still hear the sound of her heartbeat? Let's see. The moment she fell, her heart was pounding. After that, I don't know. I just started charging then. Of all the unlikely timing. If you had heard anything after that, it could have possibly proved that the hug wasn't actually the moment of the murder. I'm very sorry. I'm afraid I don't know. I am very sorry. The robot is designed to go into sleep mode automatically, so it can't be helped. But it does appear that it detected an increase in heart rate at the moment of the stabbing. After Mummy Metz's heart started pounding in surprise, she fell by the window. It was the round window on the workbench side of the room. The workbench, huh? Ponko must be talking about that table, right of where the giant robot is now. Is there something critical? I didn't buy the Gatorade for you to die. Your Honor, I believe this statement is critical. I'd like it added to our testimony. Very well. Ponko, would you please add the statement to your testimony? That's a good little girl. Thank you. Okay. The round window on the workbench side of the... That's not... I love you, I'm sorry. Let's see. There were 2 round windows in the robotics lab. Which one did you mean? The one on the right, near the hanging scroll. The hanging scroll was Mummy Metis' prized possession. Okay, so the picture of the crime scene from 7 years ago, there is definitely a hanging scroll and a Japanese theatre mask hanging on the workbench side. But is there a problem with this statement? Fucking maybe! Prosecutor Blackwell. I wonder what he was there for. His objective? I don't know. I don't know. I guess I can't very well ask Ponka to speculate. So what happened after Prosecutor Blackwell arrived? Maybe. And then an error occurred. There's no data after that point. You don't remember what happened next? An error, huh? I wonder if... all data suddenly cut off at that point. I don't know anything after that. The answer to that question is right here. According to the defense's theory, this photo shows when the robot was being taken apart. Exactly, we can conclude that Ponko's error was the result of her being dismantled. Indeed, the bodies of those robots are designed to be controlled remotely by a separate computer. Yes, that's basically what Miss Blackwell explained to us too. She said their hearts and memories are stored on a separate computer. When the witness was taken apart, she lost use of her body but not her memories. That's how she is now still able to give testimony about the events of that day. Fascinating, sir. It's as if she can be seriously wounded, but her soul still burns. There are a few parts of Ponko's testimony that are hard to interpret. Edgeworth chose to interpret hugged as stabbed. I'd better try to iron out who did what, where, and to whom for myself. Okay. Alright, there's no blood. There's no blood. Oh god, I'm stupid. Objection! Ponko, your statement may have just inspired a breakthrough. I was helpful? Hooray! I'm so happy! Just to be sure, let's go over it again, okay? The victim fell down near the window on the workbench side of the room, however... I mean, that as well. Her body was discovered on the operating table. But the operating table and the workbench are in 2 different locations. Exactly, Your Honor. We've just learned a new crucial fact. What could explain the 2 very locations? The victim moved. An 11-year-old girl couldn't have moved the heavy body of an adult. So the only explanation is the victim walked to the operating table herself. In other words, what Ponko observed near the workbench couldn't have possibly been the moment of the murder. very relieved to hear that. Glad to know that the murder wasn't committed in front of little Ponko here. Yes, as we've just heard in the testimony, Miss Sykes hugged her mother and nothing more.
Objection.
Right. It's been 8 years and you're still just as gullible as ever. Green as ever. But I can't recall ever seeing Mr. Wright in anything but a blue suit. Hey, blue's my favorite color, what can I say? If the defendant couldn't have moved the body, she could have had it moved for her. But Miss Sykes and Dr. Sykes were the only one there. I agree, but since the robot is equipped with heartbeat detection system, it would have been aware of another person's presence if someone had been there. We can therefore conclude that the defendant and the victim were the only ones present. Well, then who do you suggest moved the body? Don't you know? It's in the nature of a robot to help people do things. Miss Panko, allow me to ask you a couple of questions. My name is... they said Panko! They said Panko, it's canon! It's Miss Panko, she's in... They put Panko in Ace Attorney. Panko is in Ace Attorney. They added Panko to Pace Attorney? Oh, God. My name is Punko. Say it with me. Punko. I believe you said you were cleaning after Dr. Sykes fell down. Did you happen to move something large onto the operating table? Yes, I did. Athena asked me to. Athena asked you to? Okay. Let me just hit... I got it. I don't know. Unless something has an ID tag, I can't tell what it is. An ID tag, you say? Yes, a tag with a barcode on it. We robots scan them to tell us what a thing is. The paper in the lab did mention something about that. Recognizes people by scanning their spacesuits or uniform jacket ID tag, it was said. So it would appear that Miss Panko here can't identify what it moved. My name is Punko! It happened again! But we humans have the power to imagine what it is, do we not? We do? Well, I do at the very least. Miss Panko, on the defendant's command... move the body onto the operating table. I can't believe it. I can't believe Panko is an Ace Attorney. Ha! Punko, did you really move Dr. Sykes' body? This is really important. Isn't there any way you could tell? I don't know. Without an ID tag, I can't tell. Give it up, Wright. If the victim's heart was stopped, the robot detection system would be useless. Furthermore, Dr. Sykes usually wore her white coat while she was working. She kept the jacket with her ID tag on it, draped around a chair of the robotics lab, and only wore it for special occasions. Oh God, Panko, no! Well, I mean, I feel like Panko, after some convincing from Sherelle, would help with murder. As a treat. In other words, the victim wasn't wearing her ID tag at the time. From the robotics point of view, her body was simply just another object.
Objection!
But Ponko is equipped with a facial recognition system. If she really did move the victim, she would have recognized the body as Dr. Sykes. But she didn't, so that means...
Objection!
A face can easily be covered with a piece of cloth, a mask, or anything else for that matter. With her facial features hidden, the robot wouldn't have been able to tell it was Dr. Sykes. He's right. To summarize, Miss Sykes stabbed her mother near the workbench, then, using the robot, she moved the body to the table where she removed the sword and was stained with blood. Yeah, Edgeworth keeps calling Ponko Panko, so... Order! But if that's the case, then I have a question. Why did the defendant move the body to the operating table in the first place? You want a reason? Very well. What? You can't possibly have an explanation. Your emotions blind you to the truth. You should learn about our robot friends. Calm and rational thought will open your eyes to the truth in front of you, Mr. Wright. Now then, do you remember the operating table's one special feature? I believe that robots can be assembled and disassembled on there, isn't that right? That's right, and the defendant, who was just a child at the time. The table was like a magic box that can make robots appear or disappear in seconds. But in the end, my mum just put her on the operating table and fixed her in a flash. I was so impressed by what my mum did. I even asked her if she would put me on the table and fix me if I ever got hurt. It looked just like magic to me, what she could do. You can't possibly be suggesting that this young, sheltered girl had a difficult time distinguishing robots from people. But take a look at Ponko's arm. It was Miss Sykes who bandaged it up like that. She must have thought that machines heal in the same way people do. What an adorable, naive mistake. It reminds me of my own grandchild. No way. I refuse to believe it. Miss Sykes made a childish, naive, and cruel mistake. She thought that if the robot could be dismantled and vanished without a trace... Prosecutor Edgeworth! If you're about to claim what I think you are, I demand that you word it as delicately as you can. With all due respect, Your Honor, all I can do is present the truth that is at hand. The reason the defendant moved the victim's body to the operating table... No, don't say another word, just stop! Was to dismantle the evidence so she could get away with her crime. That can't be true! No! Not my baby girl! Order in the court! Order in the court, I say! Edgeworth, she was just a little kid. How could you say such a horrible thing? Horrible? Like I said, you're just as green as ever. I came here today as a prosecutor to seek only the truth, nothing more, no less. My theory is simply the result of rational consideration of every possibility.
Objection!
But dismantling isn't the table's only function. It can also make repairs as well. It's conceivable that Miss Sykes moved her mother on the table in order to fix her. I suppose that could be another way of interpreting it. But dismantle or repair, it doesn't matter either way. What do you mean? After murdering her mother, Miss Sykes may have come to her senses. Perhaps she did want to make it appear as if it never happened, and that's why she tried to repair her mother. Yes, that's one possible explanation. But we mustn't forget the facts of this case. The victim was observed to fall down after being hugged by the defendant, and the body was moved per the defendant's command. These two facts, the facts that indicate the defendant's guilt, remain unchanged. This just can't be true. Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence to refute the prosecution's claim? Evidence? Right, let's see. I can't think of any. I'm afraid I don't have any evidence. Since becoming chief prosecutor, I've learned the way of the truth isn't always pretty. Now, accept the truth, Mr. Wright. Your subordinate murdered her own mother. Your Honor, the prosecution demands a verdict. The hostages have suffered enough. What a terrible and tragic conclusion. Are you ready, Annie? If the defense has no counter-arguments, I see no need to further prolong this trial. Edgeworth's argument seems solid enough, but there's no way Athena could have ever done anything like that. What to do? There has to be something, but I can't think of a single thing. Boom. 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 Prosecutor Blackwell?
That's quite a farce you are conducting here. I could die from laughing.
Prosecutor Blackwell, what are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that your argument is based entirely on a false premise.
Go on, we're listening. This be the miracle I need. But what is Prosecutor Blackwell trying to pull here?
7 years. For 7 long years. This case has been on my mind. Not for an instant did I not think on it. I'm the one who killed my mentor. Don't think you can alter that fact now. Your boldness I will take to the stand, and I will not take no for an answer.
Of course, Prosecutor Blackwell, please go ahead. 7 years ago,
I went to the Cosmos Space Center with the intention of killing Dr. Sykes. But when I got to the robotics lab, I found Athena in there instead. I would not be swayed from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Sykes to return. And then I committed the act. How cathartic it was.
Yeah. But little Punko here witnessed a victim falling. In other words...
I don't need any of your other words, old man. I can guess what happened.
Which would be?
She fell means she fell. Merely that. A mother and child fooling around. Perhaps she tripped. Not that it matters.
Oh, my voice is absolutely ruined. I'm so sorry. I'm not doing this like I usually do.
When I entered the lab, there was no trace of Dr. Sykes to be seen. There was no dead body either, of course, meaning she must have left the room.
So the murder occurred after the time period Punko described in her testimony?
You should hardly take stock in the words of a wind-up toy.
Objection! Then how do you explain the fact that the defendant had the robot move something?
Athena was always tinkering with the robots on the operating table to amuse herself, and she always had Punko move the heavy ones for her. That day was no different. Punko moved a heavy robot for Athena.
I love how, despite his hands being handcuffed, he has them by his side like they are not handcuffed. This is awful. What he's saying seems to make sense, and yet... Prosecutor Blackwell, are you trying, even now, to turn away from the truth? Don't you realize we could bring the Dark Age of the Law to a close today? Long chains.
You expect too much from me. I'm a murderer. I'm just a murderer beyond redemption. Why don't you just let me go so I can settle down into hell?
Prosecutor Blackwell's execution is tomorrow. If the truth doesn't come out now, it's all over. Are you saying that the little girl and the robot had nothing to do with the murder?
That's right. So let's hear your verdict. If we don't hurry, I might miss the ferry across the Styx.
Don't you dare judge. Don't forget I have hostages over here. And Simon, how long are you going to cover for her? Miss Blackwell.
Forgive me, Aura. I never wanted you to do anything like this for me. But you agreed to this trial. If you have a counter-argument, then present your evidence. That's the rule of the courtroom. Isn't that right, Chief Prosecutor?
Blackwell, you selfish son of a... Well, to be frank, I don't like this, but it is my duty to make a decision. If no one has a counter-argument, I will announce my verdict.
This is really happening? Is it really going to end just like it did 7 years ago? I want to do it so bad. Even now, I want to fly out here and go save him. No, I can't tell her. How can I lie to Athena? If I can't prove Prosecutor Blackwell's innocent in this trial, I don't think Athena will ever... Oh.
my god, hey. No. No, I wasn't having snacky. I wasn't having snacky at all. I wouldn't snack, not in the middle of a stream, nuh-uh. That's not me at all. Well, I guess I'll just go back to drinking the fucking Coke. Thank you, Kirby. I crack my back, I sit up straight. And we're ready to fucking party. No! How could you do that to me? Not one of you told me my mic was unmuted. I can't let this happen. But I just don't have the evidence to counter Prosecutor Blackwell's testimony. Hello? Get back in the defendant's chair, bitch! Athena, what are you feeling okay? I can hear it. I can hear the voices of his heart. He's hiding something. If he really is, I could sure use Athena's help here. Her powers might just be the thing to get us through this. Objection. Athena, sit the fuck down. Sykes, Dono. No need for you to chime in here. Just accept that you're innocent. Objection. These past 7 years, they've been just as hard on me, you know. What are you talking about? Do you remember that horrible, horrible trial? Please, you have to listen to me. He didn't kill her. His heart is screaming he didn't kill her. Even now, every time I stand in a courtroom, it comes back to haunt me. Not being heard, no matter how hard you try, feeling so helpless. Caught in people's stares, so scared that it feels like your chest is in a vice. I'm terrified of courtrooms. I want to run out that door even now. But I don't want to catch worse charges. And yet you found a way to keep your fears at bay and become a lawyer. I love PTSD. Thanks. It's because one day I came to the realization I had to fight. I couldn't give up. I exercised hard and studied hard. I wanted to become the strongest lawyer I could be. This day has finally come. The day I've been looking forward to with all my heart. That's why I became a lawyer. This is why I studied psychology. It was all to save you from this false conviction. But Miss Sykes, do you realize what that would mean? You are the accused, after all. If you prove Prosecutor Blackwell innocent, then... The only thing that matters is the truth. It's my duty to find out what that truth is. Simon, please give me this chance. The chance to shake off this fear that's been with me for 7 years and face the truth. Athena's being so brave, confronting her past like this. This might really be the last chance to save them both. Prosecutor Blackwell, please testify one more time about the incident 7 years ago. Fine, but your efforts will surely be in vain, for I am not a man who can be cut down easily. Here we go, Simon. Let me hear the voice of your heart. PTSD, anxiety, crippling depression. There is no question. You should kill me.
I went to the Cosmos Space Center with the intention of killing Dr. Sykes. When I got to the robotics lab, I found Athena there instead.
Athena standing there is just my food up.
I would not be swayed from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Sykes to return. And then I committed the act. Oh, how cathartic it was.
His emotions are very guarded, and his defenses are way up. He steals his will, as if he'll never let his secrets be known. Pretty boy Simon. Now, I don't know about that. We've got a couple of strong wills on our side, too. Prosecutor Blackwell isn't the killer, and we're going to prove it. But what was he trying to do that day? If we approach it from that angle, I bet we'll find an emotion that just doesn't add up. Yay! That feeling of happiness. Even though the person you were looking for wasn't there, you felt happy. Why is that?
Simple. When I was looking for Athena and hadn't found her yet, I grew worried. So when I saw her in the robotics lab, I was happily relieved. Merely that.
Just now you said you went to the Space Center with the intention to kill Dr. Sykes, but the first thing you did was look for her daughter instead.
I had no intention of harming Athena, so I wanted to confirm that she was safe first. It was just part of my plan, nothing contradictory about that.
The second I find an inconsistency, he cuts it down. You can say it in my DMs. Simon knows the principles of analytic psychology. There's less noise now, but I don't see any instabilities that we can latch onto. I was afraid of that. We just have to keep chipping away at him, then, bit by bit. Could you update his testimony, Athena? You got it, boss. He just... Oh, it's gone. It's gone. No more anger. Just happy. Look at him. He just did a little head pat.
That was not it, chat.
He just teleports. I'm not smart, chat. I'm sorry. Ah! Okay, here we go. Okay, let me see what you've written to me here. Let me see what horrendously down bad shit you have sent into my DMs. Okay. Thank you, Annie, for that. Thank you so much. Not even you can falsify your emotions, Prosecutor Blackwell.
What?
When you said you killed Dr. Sykes in your testimony, you felt sadness. Why would someone who had lain in wait to kill her be sad at her death?
Such an obvious attack. Yes, I felt sadness, but it wasn't for her. I felt sorry for Athena and her circumstances.
He can't be talking about that, can he? I was just convenient research subject. I was just a convenient subject for her research. Dr. Sykes was so intent on her research that she forced her daughter to undergo experiments. My objective was to save Athena from an obsessive scientist who treated her own daughter like a research subject. What? I went to the psychology lab first. That's where I would usually find Athena playing. But that day was different. I heard somebody crying in the robotics lab next door. Was Athena being subjected to yet another experiment? I thought as I went to see. Conveniently, Athena had cried herself to sleep, so all I had to do was wait and kill. So that's why he was relieved when he saw Athena. But this story really true? I'm not sure how much to believe. Mr. Wright? How are you doing, Athena? Still hanging in there? I'm a lot stronger than I look, boss. Now take a look at this. The noise level actually increased. It went up. I've never seen it do that before. Prosecutor Blackwell is lying somewhere in his testimony. As a matter of fact, he's piling lie on top of lie in an attempt to make his claims sound more believable. He's lying even harder to suppress his true feelings, and that's what's causing the noise. Can't believe he's going to have a panic attack in court. That's going to be so... That's so relatable. How in the world should I approach this? An evidence-based approach might work if I can find a contradiction. Otherwise, I should look for an inconsistency to his emotions. There are no flaws in my testimony, and his boldness is preparing to give his verdict. Give up on this lost cause and let the law free me from these chains already. Objection! Oh, me too, man. I don't think so, not while I'm around. Now, contradictory. Let's go his emotions. Okay, let's look for inconsistent emotions. Got it, boss. If you want to try looking for contradictory evidence statements instead, just let me know. I can easily switch over. Oh. Whoops. I heard crying from next door. Of course I was worried. I hurried over and opened the door to the robotics lab. But before I could lead Athena out of there, curse my luck, Dr. Sykes came in. I refused to hand Athena over, so I had no choice but to kill my mentor. He fought for custody! He was like, alright, it's my kid now. Ah, okay, no! How odd. Why would you register surprise at opening the door to the lab? Alright, fine. I'll explain if I must. What surprised me was Ponko. That toy figure attacked me. Dr. Sykes knew full well of my plan to rescue Athena, but she couldn't stand guard over her daughter 24 hours a day. So Dr. Sykes had Ponko do it? That's right. She ordered Ponko to forcibly remove me on sight. So I slashed Ponko up with that katana that was there in the lab. Aha! Contradiction! That rickety old puppet was not worthy of that fine blade. Mr. Wright, it's happening again. There's even more noise now. It's at 100% now. What's going on here? Whenever we find an opening, he covers it up with lies. We'll never get rid of this noise at this rate. It's pretty hard to keep telling coherent lies like that. His mind and will really are as sharp and as strong as a katana. Alright. Testimony. Cool. Might be an inconsistency in Prosecutor Blackwell's testimony. Alright, let's give it a thorough check then. The blood is on the arm. And there's blood on the katana.
Objection!
So he did it. It was done after the murder, not before. Compounding lies with more lies is never the answer, Prosecutor Blackwell. Take a look at this photo. That's the photo that supposedly is the moment of the murder, isn't it?
How many more times must I see that which damned me for my sins?
The ironic thing is, I think this picture is actually going to be your savior now. See the blood stain on the end of Punko's arm where it was severed by the katana? I hope you aren't claiming that's the robot's blood, Mr. Wright. No, most likely the blood was transferred there from the bloody katana. The katana already had blood on it, so then it must have been the victim's blood. That's right. But if that's the case, we found a glaring inconsistency. You said in your testimony that you cut up Punko and then you killed Dr. Sykes. But in spite of that, the victim's blood is already on Punko's arm in this picture. What? That couldn't be. Exactly. In order for the blood to be transferred from the sword to Punko's arm, the victim must have been stabbed first before the robot was slashed. In other words, Prosecutor Blackwell, your entire testimony is nothing but one big ball of lies. Oh, he's sweating. Now tell the truth, Prosecutor Blackwell, now.
You have no idea what you're doing.
His voice, there's so much discord. I'm hearing not just one or two, but a bunch of rampaging emotions here. It's hard to describe. It's like a violent whirlpool or something.
Phoenix Wright, you will pay for this. Never have I been forced to reveal so much, but the rest I'll take to my grave.
Prosecutor Blackwell, you are on the witness stand. You are obligated to tell the truth. Isn't that the rule of the courtroom? Of all the complex emotions, they all seem to be flowing from one source. I think whatever he really saw that day is what's causing these feelings. Panic attack time!
Following the sounds of crying, I opened the lab door and then... I saw it, that terrible scene. Before I could lead Athena out of there, curse my luck, Dr. Sykes came in. I had no choice but to kill my mentor.
Hey guys, are you ready? You guys ready? Neither am I. Yeah. I'm not ready. When you opened the door and saw Athena there, you became overwhelmed by your emotions. Isn't that right, Prosecutor?
You should know better. And though it's pathetic, I admit I am terrified to speak of it.
Prosecutor Blackwell, Miss Sykes is innocent, and I will believe that with all my heart. Now, can't you find it within yourself to believe in me too?
Athena is innocent, huh? Can you honestly say you believe that to be true, right, Dono?
I give you my word. Now tell me what you really saw when you opened that door.
Curse you! It was a tragedy, one I'll never forget. When I arrived at the lab, Dr. Sykes was already dead. She was lying on the operating table while the bloody katana lay on the floor, and standing between the two was Athena, covered in blood. She smiled with a far-off look in her eyes as she sweetly said, "Something's wrong with Mum." I don't know what it said, I apologize. That's what I saw, and now you have it. The truth you so desperately wanted. Something wrong with Mum, so I'm taking her apart to fix her.
I can fix her. I can fix her, Mum. I can be her new mum.
No. Prosecutor Blackwell finally tells us the truth, and this is what it is? This is beyond devastating. I tried to take my mother apart. I...
That's probably fine.
So it was me? I'm the one who killed my mother?
Athena! As I said, Wright, the truth isn't always pretty. Murder, disassembly on an operating table, and a scientist using her daughter as a guinea pig. Sadly, it appears that my theory was correct after all.
Objection.
Fuck off. It's true that Athena didn't like her mother's research, but you dare cast aspirations on my mentor by claiming Athena was used in such a manner? Dr. Sykes could be awkward with people, but she loved her daughter with all her heart.
She loved me?
Your mother hated to see you suffer because you could hear the voices of people's hearts. She wanted to set you free of your pain, so she worked tirelessly on her research. Do you remember those headphones you hated so much? I'm right here.
Yes. My head hurt every time I wore them.
No, Athena, that's just the opposite. They emitted sound waves to nullify emotional input from the voices of the people around you. Your power was much stronger than it is now. And those headphones were what enabled you to carry on with everyday life.
No, it can't be true. Then why would I have done something like that to somebody who loved me so much?
Her love for you was real, that I can guarantee. That's why I knew that what happened had to be some kind of mistake. I could not let you be punished for it. So you took the blame yourself, and you and your mentor are more alike than you know. Bonko was a witness, so I put her in the case and held Athena close and vacated the lab. I threw Bonko away in the boarding lounge trash chute, and I hid the case on the Space Center grounds. It would seem that now we have all the facts of this case. I'd go to prison for you. No, not yet. I can't let it end like this. Do not disgrace yourself, Mr. Wright. The truth has been revealed. Or are you the type of man to turn your back on to things that disagree with you? I'm not, but this... I can't give up now. I have to say something, anything, even if it's a bluff. I've always managed to pull through that way in the past. I have to make it work. The defense is prepared to present evidence.
Mr. Wright? Yes, Athena? It's okay. You can stop now. I don't want you or anyone else to suffer any longer for my sake.
Athena, what are you saying?
I killed my mother. That's the truth. It's just like Prosecutor Edgeworth said. We have to face it, no matter how much it hurts. I admit my guilt. But could I please be granted just one chance to tell everyone what I recall?
It appears Miss Sykes is much braver than you, Mr. Wright. What do you say, Your Honor? In light of her courage, will the court give Miss Sykes this opportunity to confess? Very well, then if you would, Miss Sykes, please take the stand.
Thank you for letting me do this, Prosecutor Edgeworth. And thank you, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Blackwell, for letting the truth be known. We can finally move forward, and everyone's suffering can come to an end.
She wouldn't even go to jail for a long time, let's be real. She would be tried as a minor.
Athena! Prosecutor Black will be cleared and the dark age of the law can come to an end. Yes, admit your guilt and bring everything to its conclusion.
I killed my mother. My memory's still a little hazy, but there's no question that I remember it. I remember the weight of the weapon in my hands and the feeling of it stabbing in deep. And I remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle onto my finger.
No, you don't, lying ass bitch! I remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle onto my fingertips. You mean the handle that's free of blood? The handle that's free of blood?
Your Honor, please find me guilty.
I dare say these are all memories that no one but a murderer would have. I see. Thank you for your confession. I believe this trial has gone on long enough. But before we conclude, does anyone have a counter-argument? Objection! I do! The prosecution is a bottom-ass bitch, and he's sleeping on the couch tonight. I do, Your Honor. Mr. Wright.
But, Mr. Wright, why?
Why does she go cross-eyed when she gets shocked?
I killed her. I remember it now. Any counter-argument now is pointless.
Objection! I'm objecting! Don't tell me you've forgotten one of the basic tenets of lawyering. Always believing the client to the bitter end, Athena. You are not a murderer. Objection! Objection! What do you mean I'm sleeping on the couch? I said you never did change, but could you actually have regressed in these 8 years? I won't stand for your childish emotionalism getting in the way of the truth. Emotionalism? Don't lecture me on the matters of the heart, Edgeworth. Because I can still see straight into a person's soul. Alright. Time to psychologically scar her.
I did a little research. I looked into those special psych locks you mentioned, Mr. Nick. Athena isn't trying to keep anything from you on purpose. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories sealed it off, even from herself.
Do you remember when Phoenix Wright, who forged evidence? Yeah. Do you remember when Christoph had black psych locks and then it was never addressed again? I wish they would address it. I hope that there's like... I hope in Ace Attorney 7 they address it. I hope we get Ace Attorney 7. There's still a chance, somewhere deep in Athena's heart, that there might still be a memory not that even she knows about yet. It might be like looking for a grain of sand somewhere in the cosmos, but still, the memory might contain a new fact that could possibly prove her innocence. I hope for everyone's sake that you are not just bluffing, Mr. Wright. Now then, is there or is there not a problem with Miss Sykes' confession? There is.
Okay, one sec.
Might as well then.
Mm-hmm.
What's that realization?
Fuck me! There's only so many voices that I can do! Not to mention, my voice after after these streams is fucking dead. I wish to unsign up. I wish to uninstall. I wish to revoke consent. What if I just simply never stream Investigations? What if Investigations is a game that I just personally play? What then? I can't stream in these conditions. So enough of that shit. Anyway. My memory's still a little hazy, but there's no question I remember it. I did, yes. I remember the weight of the weapon in my hands and the feeling of it stabbing in deep. And I remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle onto my fingers. Well, I can't stream in those conditions. And we're definitely not gonna get through everything today. There's definitely something wrong with her memory of events. I can just... No, don't you butt saucer me. Isn't that the katana that the defendant used to kill the victim, Mr. Wright? I respectfully and vehemently disagree, Your Honor. But I remember it. I remember holding onto the weapon and getting blood on my fingers. That's exactly my point. If blood really did get onto your fingers whilst you were holding it, there should be blood on the handle. Anyway, Anyway, Hi, Annie. It's okay, I'm strong. I don't need the walkthrough, probably. Annie. No, Annie! You can't leave stream. No, baby, I'm sorry. But I modded you again. Do you want me to start crying? I'll start crying. I'll do it. And not crocodile tears. I don't want to upset you. Maybe? Are you gonna stay? Huh? I can sense you're trying to call me, but it's not working. Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, put the stream on pause for a second.
Chat, I think I just got divorced. Chat, I just got divorced. My wife is leaving me. My wife of 7 years, she's leaving me. That's right, Kirby. The divorce. Baby, are you okay? No, we're not actually getting a divorce. We're not actually getting a divorce, for the record. /J. Oh, wow. I love how it's what I did. I mean, you're right, Bax. It is what I did. However, don't worry, Kirby. You're still not getting 2 Christmases. Damn, I'm just worrying everyone today. I need to stop. Thanks, Bax. Your silly little overlay. You don't like that I'm attracted to your knees? Do you want me to not be attracted to them? Look, okay, I don't know how to take my emotions seriously. I don't know how to do that. I'm struggling. Oh, thanks, Bax. I can try. I'm not good at it, though. Why are you giving him forehead kiss? There should be blood on the handle. Yeah, I tried being German. That didn't go too well either. But please focus on the handle of this sword. There's not a trace of blood on it. Whoa, in my head, the whole interaction went different. Yeah, you weren't meant to call me. You were meant to be like, okay, I'll stay. And then I was gonna go, okay, let's go. I didn't think you would call me and be like worried and stuff. Oh, it's the final case, Bax. Anyway, but please focus on the handle of the sword. There's not a trace of blood on it, and therefore, that's a contradiction. You're right. Oh my.
Objection.
The defendant must have simply confused a portion of her memories. She mentioned it was hazy to begin with and can't mull over every minor detail. But she also said there's no question I remember it, a fact we can't ignore. In that case, why don't you explain what this contradiction with her memories means? I do cry. I just don't tell you when I cry. There's a difference. I cry quite regularly. Not in front of people. Gladly. Just give me a sec to think of something. I want to say Athena didn't stab anyone, but she said it herself that she remembers the feeling of committing the act. Think, Phoenix, think. What could this contradiction with Athena's memories mean? The defendant used a different weapon. Hey! Miss Sykes said blood flowed onto the handle, but the katana's handle was spotless. So, doesn't it follow that the defendant must have used a weapon other than the katana? What are you up to this time? This is it. this time I found just the thing to end Athena's nightmare for good. The weapon that took Dr. Sife's life was the katana. That much is for sure. So if I can show a possibility that Athena didn't use the katana, it could help me prove her innocence. A different weapon, you say? What weapon would that be exactly? Right, of course you would ask that. I can see you're floundering, Mr. Wright. Did you speak without thinking again, as always? How does he do that? But I can't back down. Not here, not now. That's right, I did, because it's so obvious it doesn't require any thought. What did you say? Okay, maybe that was an exaggeration, but there has to be something. Was there some other bladed weapon in the robotics lab that day? Maybe, just maybe, there's something on one of the crime scene photos. This one? Wait a minute, there is something. There's a high probability that that was in the lab. I don't have that particular weapon here as evidence, but I do have a piece of evidence just like it. Baby, are you okay? But this is the murder weapon in the Clay Terran case. Yes, this is the knife that took Mr. Terran's life, but there must have been a knife just like this at the scene 7 years ago as well. Toolkits containing utility knives like this are issued to Space Center employees, and a robotics lab especially would naturally have one of these around.
Objection!
But besides the katana, no other bladed weapon was found at the site. It was in the investigation report, if you didn't know.
Objection!
Oh, of course I knew that, once you just told me now. Yeah, put the stream on your phone and lay down. And give yourself a forehead kiss. And then there's something else you already know. There was a toolkit at the scene, but it didn't contain any blades. Here's a photo of its contents. You're right, I don't see any kind of bladed tool. Fine, but there's something odd about the design of these handles. Therefore, there was no other bladed weapon in the room. Yeah, iron tablets.
Objection!
I disagree. This toolkit contained a knife. And what proof do you have of that? Don't tell me your eye for art is failing you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You are the last person in the world who should be criticizing my aesthetics choices. Now, he's simply watching out for your ocular health. Please proceed, Mr. Wright. Notice the handles of each of these tools have some sort of design on them. Ah, I see that they do, but what significance does they have? It's clear that one of the tools is missing from this kit. If we rearrange the tools into a specific pattern, we might be able to tell which part of the overall design is missing. That's correct, Kirby. Is that the theory your pitiful sense of aesthetics help you come up with? Edgeworth, just let it go, man. Show the corp then, if you would.
Take that!
It's the GYAXA logo, Your Honor. It's on all of the Space Center's documents and pamphlets. As you're aware, GYAXA is the program that operates the Cosmos Space Center. Look at how bright the GYAXA logo shines in the sunlight above the entranceway. I really dig the stars and rocket motif it's got going on. GYAXA, huh? Isn't that the new name of the Federal Space R&D program? Ah, I think so now. I think I see it now too, but yes. With just the tools shown in this photo, the red A part of the logo is missing. This is where the murder weapon from the Clay Terran case comes into play. If we were to place the utility knife in the open slot, it would complete the GYAXA logo. Ah, so it would, then that means... Admitted, Mr. Edgeworth, my aesthetic sense is keener than yours, and whilst you're at it, you admit that the weapon Miss Sykes used could have been this one. Ugh. GYAXA. Miss Sykes confessed to having a memory of stabbing the victim. Admittedly, Miss Sykes most likely did stab someone using the utility knife. However, the weapon used to kill Dr. Sykes was the katana. Therefore, the act of stabbing that Miss Sykes remembers could not have been that of Dr. Sykes. Very well. Let's suppose for a minute that Miss Sykes did use the utility knife. Tell me, how does that change anything? Again? What if the katana was only being used as a decoy to conceal the true murder weapon? What if the real weapon that took the victim's life was the utility knife? Don't be ridiculous, or you're changing the premise of your entire argument. I'm merely offering a hypothetical solution derived from your logic. Miss Sykes could have put blood on that katana to make it look like the murder weapon, and then concealed the knife on her personage until Blackwell carried her away. That does clear up the contradiction between Miss Sykes' memory and the evidence. If, in fact, the murder weapon is a utility knife, then fate has dealt you a cruel hand. For you have just proven that the knife's existence to the rest of us with your own logic.
Objection!
The prosecution is attempting to lead the court. You are the one attempting to lead the court, Mr. Wright, by forcing us to forget the facts of this case. Need I remind you that there were only 2 people in the lab at the time of the murder, and that the defendant herself recalls stabbing someone with her own hands? No. It matters not whether the murder weapon was a katana or a utility knife. Yeah, fruit salad. As long as we know that the victim and the defendant were the only ones there, you cannot escape the fact that it was Athena Sykes who killed her own mother. I don't believe it. Why? Why does this keep happening? Every time I find a contradiction, it vanishes, and the suspicion keeps coming back. So almost as if... Now you're finally starting to get it. Your contradictions keep vanishing because the charge is true. The suspicion keeps coming back to the defendant because that's where it belongs. Phoenix Wright, when will you open your eyes and accept the truth? I don't want to believe it. It can't be true. But what if... Mr. Wright, you've fought a good fight, but I think you've done all you can do. But is giving up really the only option? No, snap out of it, Phoenix. What's the matter with you giving in to doubt? I can't look back. Forward is the only way to go. Yeah, go ahead. Go rest. No, Your Honor, not yet. This isn't over yet. Right. I can't lose sight of what's important. I believe in Athena, and I'll always believe in her until the very end. A defense lawyer can never give up on his client. I have to pick myself up and stand firm. Make that brain of yours work, Phoenix. If I don't see a way, I'll just have to go back and look for one. Time to rethink this case thoroughly. Oh my god, brain time. I can see that the fact Athena must have stabbed someone with the utility knife. It must have been what Ponko witnesses Athena's hug. But Prosecutor Blackwell didn't see the knife at the scene. This means somebody must have removed it from the lab before he arrived. I could have third person was at the scene. I trust in Athena. If I trust in Athena, then I have to conclude that there was a third person at the scene. But according to Punko's testimony, Athena and her mother were the only two there. So then, how did this third person manage to escape Punko's detection? I know. This third person must have fooled Punko's facial recognition feature by covering their own face. But wait a minute, Punko has a heartbeat detection system too. Even if they covered their own face, Punko would have still detected their presence. But she wouldn't have been able to tell who they were. Wait, that's it. The culprit who covered their face and posed as which person to avoid detection. Person posed as the victim. The culprit posed as the victim. That would explain why Punko thought only she and Athena were there. All they had to do was take advantage of Punko's basic recognition feature. Oh, I didn't see. What's the last thing you remember? Okay, so we are in headspace mode, and we've determined that a third person was on the scene. But if a third person was there, Punko would have picked up on it, using its facial recognition system. So the person must have hid their face, but Punko also has a heartbeat detection system, which means the person hid their face and was also posing as the victim. And that's where we are now. All they had to do was take advantage of Punko's basic recognition features. The culprit used this in order to pose as the victim. He used the victim's jacket. The culprit could have just posed as the victim by wearing her jacket with the ID tag on it, but that still leaves the heartbeat detection system. How did the culprit get around that? It wouldn't have worked if Punko could detect the real Dr. Sykes' heartbeat too. So does that mean the real Dr. Sykes was already dead by then? If that's the case, who did Athena stab? Athena stabbed the real culprit. That's it. The person Athena stabbed wasn't Dr. Sykes. It was the person who murdered her and then pretended to be her. The real culprit. Now that Mr. Wright has finally finished thinking, let's bring this to a swift end. Please give us your verdict, Your Honor, so that we can move on to the hostage negotiations. You are absolutely right, Prosecutor Edgeworth. I hereby... Fuck you, Mr. Wright. I didn't say I was finished. I was only pausing for a second. Because I realized something so shocking, I had to take a break to digest it. But now I know for a fact that Miss Sykes is innocent. But Punko saw me. She witnessed the moment of the crime. Yes, Punko did witness something. They've been dating for, forever, so, you know. Of course. She saw the hug. In other words, the moment you used the utility knife. But the person you stabbed wasn't your mother. What are you saying, Mr. Wright? The answer is simple. The person Miss Sykes stabbed was a third person posing as Dr. Sykes. What?
Objection!
Do you really expect us to swallow that, Mr. Wright? According to the robot statement, there was no third person there. Well, I mean, you know, we just established that Athena most likely walked in and saw her dead mother's body. And was yelling at the guy who killed her. Do you really think I wouldn't see through that ludicrous grab for time?
Objection!
After all we've been through, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm disappointed. Don't you know by now that this smile of mine just means I have absolute confidence? Ha! You make that pose all the time, regardless of the facts. Clonk of strange malfunction. Mr. Terran, you look pale. Should I help you to the sickbay? Mr. Terran, but that's Apollo you're talking to. Oh, this Uncle Junkie has been mistaking Apollo for Clay. Maybe Apollo's possessed by Clay's ghost. We just went over it, like, just now. Exactly, you made that pose on our wedding. It was just another case of mistaken identity caused by a jacket ID tag. All because Clonko couldn't read Apollo's facial features due to that eye patch. Like Mr. Edgeworth said, a mask could nullify the robot's facial recognition, and then all the person would have to do is wear a jacket with the victim's ID tag to pose as her. Of all the ridiculous theories, what good would a silly disguise like that do? Have you forgotten about that the robot also has a heartbeat detection system? If there was a third person at the scene, the robot would have detected them. Oh yeah, probably, yeah. I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth, but that doesn't count for much, I'm afraid. Because by that time, Dr. Sykes' heart had already stopped beating. What? So does that mean? Yes, Your Honor. The person Miss Sykes stabbed was the third person who was posing as Dr. Sykes, her mother's real killer. But that's impossible. A mask? The person I stabbed was wearing a mask? Order. Miss Sykes, did you say something? A mask? Yes, I remember. Athena, what is it? I remember a man with a mask. How could he? What did he do to my mother? My head. Miss Sykes, are you alright? No. The black Cyclops. They're breaking. Yeah. It's all coming back to me. Everything that happened the day my mother was murdered. They're gone. The black Cyclops are finally gone. You didn't really stab your mother, did you? It's alright, Athena. Just tell us what you saw that day. I was drawing a picture. When I was done, I went to show it to my mum. I opened the door and then... It's alright, I'm here. You're safe, Athena. She was on the floor by the workbench with the katana sticking out of her. There was a handkerchief over her face, but I knew it was her by her clothes. And there was a man there. A man? Quiet, Your Honor! Shut the fuck up, Judge! Go on, Athena. He tried to attack me. In a panic, I grabbed the knife that was there and he dodged at first, so I only got his clothes, but I tried again. And this time you got him, didn't you? I did. I remember it clearly now. The knife went into the back of his hand. Then he kicked me and I passed out. When I came to, my mum wasn't moving. I had to do something. I had to fix her, I thought. So I asked Ponko to move her onto the operating table. Something's wrong with Mum, so I have to fix her. So that's why she said that. Your Honor, as you can see, the defendant has just given us critical new testimony. A man was there before Miss Sykes arrived, a man who covered the victim's face and put on the victim's jacket. This man is the real culprit. Miss Sykes, do you have any idea who this man was? No, I'm afraid I don't. A few moments ago, Miss Sykes mentioned a mask. Athena, can you tell us anything about that? Yes, the mask. It was one of my mum's Japanese theatre masks. I think it's the one hanging on the wall of the lab. Ah, that mask hanging there on the wall. It was kind of spooky, that mask. My mum used to tell me that a Nor mask even has the power to turn an ordinary human being into a phantom. Phantom? No, not her dad. We don't know what her dad is. It would seem that a new suspect has emerged, and that means all suspicion against Miss Sykes has... Fuck off. Oh, it's you. You see, this is precisely why I can't trust the court system. Athena Sykes is the murderer. I won't accept any other verdict. Miss Blackquill! Ah, fuck. A new suspect? Where's the proof this person ever existed? Who says it wasn't just all a dream in Little Princess's groggy little head? She's right. We don't have any kind of hard evidence that the masked man existed.
Objection!
Thank you, Mr. Wright. I'll never be able to repay you for all you've done. But I'm fine now, because I can say with certainty that I didn't kill my mother. Athena, I'm so glad for you. More and more memories are coming back now, so I'd like to say one thing if I could. Ponko came to the robotics lab at around 2 p.m. to recharge. I went to the robotics lab at about 2 p.m. for my regular recharge. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mummy Metis. Oh, Vinny! They wanna hit the baby! Yeah, they wanna hit the baby! Yeah. They wanna hit the baby! Yeah, good girl. And then Mummy Metis fell down. After that, I was recharging, so I don't know anything. I see where you're going with this. If Mummy Metis was really the killer in disguise. Right, then he must have come into the robotics lab before 2 p.m. Do I have anything here in the evidence that can help me find this person who came into the robotics lab before 2 p.m.? This is Prosecutor Blackwell leaving the scene after the incident around 3 p.m. What I'm wondering is, does the video show anyone else passing by before then? I don't see anything in the investigation report. It looks like they didn't check. Just as I thought. So if we rewind the footage and go back to around 2 p.m., we should be able to see the true culprit leaving the scene. Very well, let's take a look. There, please stop it right there. Just like you said, there's a man leaving the scene of the crime. Miss Sykes, do you remember this person? That's him, I'm sure of it. He's wearing my mother's jacket. I did. But what I really wanted to see was her jacket. That jacket on display. That's Dr. Sykes's? Can you see it? There's a slash I made with the utility knife that day. And I'm sure that knife is under that jacket somewhere. So then everything Miss Sykes said? Exactly. That proves Miss Sykes' memory was correct. Dr. Sykes' killer arrived at the robotics lab at before 2 p.m. He killed her and hid her face with a handkerchief. Then he disguised himself with Dr. Sykes' jacket and a mask that were there in the lab. The culprit probably knew beforehand that Ponko charged up at 2 p.m. every day. So he waited for Ponko to come into the lab for her regular recharge. By leaving Dr. Sykes' jacket on, the culprit tricked Ponko into thinking he was Dr. Sykes, thereby making it look like she was still alive up until that point in time. All to disguise the real time of death.
Objection!
That's a nice theory, Mr. Wright, but I'm afraid it's just not possible. What? Why not? The victim's jacket is clearly visible right there in the photo. And that right there is precisely the problem. The ID tag on the jacket at the scene confirms beyond a doubt that it belongs to the victim. If the person who left the jacket truly was wearing the victim's jacket, then how could it possibly have wound up back at the crime scene? What's going on? That doesn't make any sense. Edgeworth's right. The killer brought it back. The killer used the jacket as a disguise to make his escape, but in order to conceal that fact, he had to get the jacket back to the crime scene. So the culprit simply returned to the robotics lab later and planted it there. Contradiction resolved.
Objection!
Except that would have been impossible. The only people who came to the robotics lab after the killer were Prosecutor Blackwell and the people who reported the body, and they claimed that the jacket was there when they arrived. So, when do you propose that the mysterious man of yours had the chance to return the jacket? A puzzling question indeed. Believe so. When the body was found at the time of the murder. The only time the culprit could have returned the jacket was when the body was found. Mr. Wright, do you realize the implications of that argument? I do. Most people, when they come across a murder, focus their attention on the body. The culprit could have taken advantage of that split second to plant the jacket. In other words, the true culprit of this case, the man known as the Phantom, was one of the first people to discover the body. I would have never have thought about that. Order in the court. What is the meaning of this, Prosecutor Edgeworth? The body was discovered and reported by a group of 3 people. They were there to collect the space probe's capsule in preparation for the HAT-1 launch. One of those people had a special bag to transport the capsule in. Oh, you mean this shock-resistant bag? Correct. I suppose if the jacket was in that bag, it could have been returned to the scene of the crime without anyone noticing. I'll see to it that you get the report on those 3 people. You will? We should also check the facial recognition database for that robot. If this person felt the need to hide his face with that theatre mask, it might mean that his facial data was once registered. Prosecutor Edgeworth, does this mean? I have to admit, I believe Miss Sykes' memories to be credible. You win, right? Not that this was ever an official trial, anyway. Do my ears deceive me? Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you actually conceding? Is it true, boss? Does this mean I can't believe it. It's over. I won. I proved that both Athena and Prosecutor Blackwell are innocent. Your Honor, I see no need to prolong this trial.
Objection!
Hold on, Mr. Wright. Have you forgotten who's in charge of this trial? That's right. I'm the one that's supposed to say no need for further prolonging. Shut the fuck up, Your Honor. Not you either, Your Honor. Now silence. The little princess who was truly beloved by Metis, who replaced that love with death. All these years, hating Athena was the only thing that kept me going. But what do I do now? Can anyone tell me? How am I supposed to go on? Miss Blackwell.
How unlike you, Aura. Metis was deeply passionate about her work, and she chose you as her partner, isn't that?
Shut up, Simon! You know exactly how I felt about her! Her respect as a co-worker wasn't all that I wanted. She wanted her. Then what did you want from her? Did you really just go there, Your Honor?
Aura, there's something I wanted to say if you will lend me an ear. I have in my possession a lead on who Metis' murderer is.
You do?
Right, Dono. You asked me about the identity of the Phantom of 7 years past.
That's right.
The Phantom, the person Blackwell's been looking for even from behind bars. 7 years ago, somebody hatched a plan to sabotage the Hat-1 rocket. The spy. But he was no ordinary spy. We knew naught about him, his appearance, his background. We came to refer to him as the Phantom. At that time, I was working with the police to hunt him down. And then one day, a miracle occurred, and I obtained a lead on him.
Oh, how exciting. What was the lead?
A recording of the Phantom's voice, but the quality was too poor for proper voice analysis.
I love this music.
Yet, I had hope. Aura's co-worker was a scientist who could analyze human emotions. So I asked her to evaluate the recording using analytical psychology.
And that scientist was Dr. Sykes.
Yes. Oh, yes. A spy's greatest fear is to have his true identity discovered. In addition to the Hat-1, Dr. Sykes' results on the recording were surely among his targets. But his search of the Space Center bore no fruit, so he must have started to panic.
He couldn't find them, but where could they have been?
Who's to say?
Oh, I bet he's never let that out of his sight in all these years. How in the world did you smuggle those into prison?
Oh, I have my ways. What's more, my partner is especially talented in that sort of thing.
Oh my god, it's the baby! It's Tucker.
I worked to lure the Phantom in by spreading rumors throughout the underworld. I was even granted permission to prosecute cases to attract the Phantom's attention. Just try to retrieve your identity, you bloody butcher, became my taunt.
And what about the results Dr. Sykes drew up for you? Was there any useful information?
Here, you can see them for yourself, but take good care of it. It's all I have left of my mentor.
I will. The subject's emotions rarely fluctuate, and he doesn't experience feelings like normal people do. Psychological profile classified. Emotional output of this voice is extremely weak compared to typical voices. Subject deemed to have unique psychological makeup with almost no emotional fluctuation.
No emotional fluctuation, huh? A spy who experiences no emotions, not sadness nor anger, and naturally no fear. He's the very definition of a phantom, a monster with no heart, don't you see? This creature is the rot that destroyed our lives and set what ails us into motion. The Phantom indeed, a fitting name for the one who's brought darkness into our world.
Well then, it seems a faint image of this man has started to take shape. I have just received news that we are planning to do the sacrifice in but a moment. Based on what we have learned, I'd like you all to conduct further investigation. This is not a formal trial, but I do want to follow protocol. If I may, I'd like to hand down my verdicts and bring these proceedings to an end.
Whatever. Do what you want. You'll hear no objections from me.
Yes, please, Your Honor. It's over. It's finally over. Very well. In that case, Prosecutor Blackwell, could you please take the stand? As a result of this trial, your innocence has been proven. The verdict handed down 7 years ago is hereby overturned. And now, the defendant of the current trial, Miss Athena Sykes.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, thank you. Thank you for everything.
Athena, you're more than welcome. If everyone is ready, I will now give my verdict. You. Oh, no! Apollo! What's the meaning of this? I hate to leave you guys on a cliffhanger. However, hate to leave it on a cliffhanger, but the new banners are about to drop on Genshin Impact. Let me just double check that I actually have Genshin Impact updated. I do. Okay. So let me just change that to this. Oh no, we've got all the materials. I think both me and Annie have the materials in order to level up our characters to level 90. If not completely level 10 them on all talents as well. So let me just game capture, Genshin Impact. Hello.
You know, anyone saying they want to go out with you is pretty great, isn't
I don't know why it's not working. I've been considering it. Can you play it on PC or is it only on PlayStation? And if it's only on PlayStation, is it only on PlayStation 5? I don't know why it's not coming up. Boom. God, I'm good. A date with death is good, but it does have NSFW in it. I don't know if you want that though. not quite. Not like New Carnival. It's a visual dating novel. And like you can pick different options, yada yada yada. But no, not like New Carnival, not like that. The NSFW is optional to play. Like it's a additional add-on that you have to buy to DLC. Yeah, so you can play the game completely. The game itself is very, very good. I like the game. It made me cry, though. Get his ass, Kirby. Please.
I've loved relationships. I think they're fantastic. The ones that I think are great, I think there's nothing in the world more beautiful than falling in love.
Okay, we ready, guys? Just lock in her thing because we can. Go to the shop and get that one additional primo. All right, we ready?
Water comes in many flavors to the discerning palate.
Trying to get.
Mondstadt's
He's
water
fucking
is
yapping.
crisp and pure.
10.
Water from Lira has an enduring aftertaste. In Inazuma, the water possesses a depth of flavor.
Okay, we're on 20.
Sumeru's water, meanwhile, has a rich and complex flavor profile, but it must be savored.
I am guaranteed.
Fully appreciated.
I wanna 30 40. Oh, it's gonna take me right up. What pity am I on? Ooh, I'm only on 25, so now I'm on 55. 65. Okay. Yay! She came at okay, she came at 75. 75 pity.
Melusines are beautiful creatures. They are the pride of Fontaine. Be sure to befriend them and cause them no harm.
Okay. Alright, now chat. Do we go for C1 Farina or do we go for her weapon? Bearing in mind, my pity on the wish weapon is 0. is her C1? Let me... when you using Let the People Rejoice, Farina will gain 150 fanfare. Additionally, Farina's fanfare limit will increase by 100. Basil just went. It's Annie right now. Annie just went to die.
All the endeavors of the people of Fontaine.
I don't know where she. Oh, she's probably in the Fortress of Meripede because she's trying to pull for Risley. We're taking bets on where she is, chat. Wow, look at that. She's in the Fortress of Meripede. She's probably sat in his fucking office. She's probably sat in his big ass chair. I have Lynette somewhere. I think I'm just... You know what? Look to be so funny. It would be so funny, chat. I don't know if Lynette's good. Oh, fuck off, Fischl. Let me just...
Seems Lenny is saying some strange things again. It's really
It would be really funny, though. Like, I know it won't happen, but it would be funny. I'm just thinking about it. I'm not actually gonna do it, girl. Do my 5 pull on here. It didn't.
entering standby mode. I hope nobody disturbs.
Streamer luck my ass. Okay. So, I know I have all of her materials. I can get it to level 90. Yeah, potentially. I'm beginning to think you might have enough because of her. Okay, level 90 for Rena.
Seems Lenny is saying some strange things again.
Artifacts. I have her artifacts too.
Tea is ready. Now it's time for a
Equipped.
short rest.
Equipped. Equipped. Equip. Huh? 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 And... God, that's far down, isn't it? Ah, it's HP. Well, I'm building her as a healer and support, so... Equip. Okay, so she's got enough HP. Switch to... I think I'm stealing somebody's sword. Stealing...
His biological dad walked out of his life when he was 6 months old.
Switch.
He had punched my husband. And he had also punched me in
Seems
The
Lenny is
host
saying
set?
some
No,
strange
this is her best set.
It's really boring.
Golden Troop. This is from Fontaine.
Tea is ready. Now it's time for a short rest.
Okay, so I'm prioritizing nothing because I don't have enough of these. Good lord. Okay. Okay. What do you mean other HP set? There is no other HP set. Do you mean... Do you mean Marichausen Hunter?
Didn't know if you were busy tonight, but just if you're around, give me a text.
Seems Lenny is saying some strange things again.
Bye.
It's really boring.
You mean this one? Marichusa Hunter? Because I don't know what you're talking about otherwise. Oh. Where's she gone? I'm very confused. One sec, Annie's just asked me to go on to VC with her.
Tea is ready. Now it's time for a short rest.
On second thought, never mind. Things came up.
Where is she pulling this fucking tea from? Pair with the Fatui? Huh? One
Seems
sec,
Lenny
chat.
is saying some strange things again. really worrying.
Okay, I'm coming.
Entering standby mode.
Also, just so you know, the stream is still on, my dear. Yeah. Yeah. Huh? Eh. Oh. Oh. Hehe. Wish. The domain on Tibet Island. No, Bax is trying to tell me about a Came very close to saying a slur there. Hey!
I want you to look up my profile and go into the zone.
Okay. Let's check this out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got him to C too?
It wasn't all at once, right? It was, I got him like 20 pulls in. I got him, another 20 pulls in.
It took me going to fucking soft pity to get Farina.
And then I got his C2 at like 70 pity.
How many?
Oh, I still have 76 wishes.
Go for C3. Or his weapon. Well, then go for his C3. Bax is telling you to do it as well. Hi, Vinny. Vinny's also saying do it.
I once considered keeping some pets in my office, but soon gave up on the idea. It's just not right to keep small animals.
Well, you're guaranteed.
I do have 46 wishes left.
Do it.
Hold on, wait, let me
Do the maths.
get mine intertwined from the start with it. I now have 65 wishes.
Okay.
Entering standby mode. I hope nobody disturbs me.
Nothing.
you ever see any stickers on my back, do me a favor and take them off. Malazines like to play pranks sometimes.
Well, I'm happy with what I have.
Yeah.
I do also think I got seasick Charlotte during that. I didn't have her before. I do have seasick Charlotte now. Almost seasick, kind of. Yeah. And see you one day.
Oh.
So he's level 90, he's triple crown, he's R5 wit sith, which I got the last one from
I once considered keeping some pets in my office,
Yeah.
but soon gave up on the idea. It's just not right to keep small
have a
animals
little
where
more
they won't be able to
rate
see the sun.
because he's got almost 300 crit damage. Triple crown.
Wait, did you say he's got nearly 300 crit damage?
278.8.
Fuck me. Don't. Look at him go. He doesn't even fucking use the book.
So I have something I need to try.
Yeah. Konika? Who the fuck is Konika?
Now it's time for a short rest. Can we play Banker next time?
Bax is saying stuff I don't understand in the chat again. Oh, Kaniche. I can kill the stuff. Kaniche can kill the stuff you need for Kaniche. That's the beauty of Kaniche. He farms for himself.
Entering standby mode. I hope nobody disturbs me.
Beautiful, amazing.
The real question is he going to crit?
I don't know if he's going to crit. How come he was only level 80?
He is ready. Now it's time for a short rest.
Oh, not the pyro. Not the pyro, Reg is fine. You should do something silly, yes.
Days are perfect for spacing out.
Let me just finally. He's hitting. I'll give him that. Does Farina buff stack? Jesus Christ.
Hey!
That was 25 and that's 25.5k. I'm gonna block you, Bax. It's actually good because I need these. So let me just grab these. Actually, need the Whopper Flower Nectar. No.
The sun feels almost as hot as those studio lights I'm in front of all the time. Good thing there can only be mine echo and song.
Bestie, my seahorse just hit 16k. What? My seahorse out here murdering things. Oh, sorry, let me just... Ah, the healing could be better. Oops. Anyway, how have you managed to get under the map, Bax?
Being too popular can be such a hassle. Who knew the people would adore me
Hi.
So what do you think? How's my build?
Yes. You showed that fire flower who was boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I will say, you put that away. Thank you. So basically, right? He ideally needs to be under 60% health. Ideally, and his thingy heals him along with his charged attack in that state, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yes.
Glider looks good on him.
I will go ahead and end the stream now, though, simply because I can. So, goodbye, streamers and stream goers. Good day. Goodbye. Well, I used to like it by kids, but it's like Kirby and Bax. One of those aren't even our kid. I don't recall adopting anyone.
And Terror from Beyond. Oh, no.
Terror from Beyond the Border. Wait, no. Alright, let's go. Goodbye.
That one lady in Scotland.
Okay. Good night.